All right, everybody, welcome in to Load the Box. I am your host, Jordan Hawthorne, a freshly shaven Jordan Hawthorne, joined as always by number one co-host, not only in your house, but in America, and that is Billy Bad Blues himself, Will Goodwin. Will, how are we doing? We have a lot to talk about tonight.
I'm intrigued, Jordan. That is the prevailing feeling, emotion, sentiment percolating in my mind today is intrigued.
Yeah.
Why am I intrigued, you ask? Thank you. Great question. I'm really glad you asked it. Vikings traded a player who has started every single game for them ever since he showed up in 2022. His name is Harrison Phillips. He started 51 games. Do the math. That's every single game. 17 a year for 3 straight years, and now he's gone. Jordan, before I go into maybe why they did this, obviously the team's not going to come out and say why they did this. Why do you think they did this?
I think it's fairly obvious why. They wanted to A, free up cap space this year, B, get a few draft picks late, which I think is brilliant for Kwesi to just stock up on 6th and 7th round draft picks, and then take the guys that are going to go undrafted. He'll be a genius. You know what I mean? Like, if Ivan Pace was a 7th round draft pick, people would be like, oh, Kwesi can draft just fine. But instead, he's a UDFA. And then C, or 3, whichever one. I was holding up 4 fingers as well. Walked a hostile. The 2026 books are pretty bad right now. And so I think this is an opportunity for the Vikings to make some space on those books a year ahead of time. And that's something that's super important for them as a franchise. They don't want to turn into the Saints, where it's every year they're doing juggling, trying to manage like Drew Brees' contract. And I think this is step one in what will be a multi-step plan to get them out of the red for next season. But I'm curious, and I think I have a hint before the show. You gave me a hint what you have in mind for this trade, and I'm excited for you to bring this to the show.
Yeah, the question that I was kind of asking myself over the last 24 plus hours as we record this Thursday evening was, what does this trade tell us, right? You know, obviously there's sentiment and there's reason behind why the Vikings might do it. I think they're trading from a position of strength. All accounts are that the Vikings defensive tackle, the interior of the defensive line, is all of the sudden a position of strength for a team that has not had that as a position of strength in my lifetime. Maybe since the Williams Wall. And so, I mean, you obviously bring in Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, and now there's all these young guys that their names just keep popping up, Jordan. And yes, we know that preseason games only tell you so much, but what reporters are saying from camp, what coaches are talking about at camp, guys like Elijah Williams, Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins, these undrafted or late round draft pick guys that the Vikings pulled in this year or last year. There was, we joke about Prospect X LDR often on this show, but he's another guy who's getting a lot of attention. I think they think that they have plenty of bodies for that position, and so training Harrison Phillips, although it hurts and it could impact the run game, he was very stout in the run game for these last 3 years especially. I think they feel like they can recoup that value with other people that are cheaper. So back to my initial sort of thought exercise of what does this trade tell us, is that something else is coming. It's not just a dump. This isn't the Twins dumping Carlos Correa for nothing. This is partially a salary dump. You're getting rid of, $3.5 million is what it's going to amount to be this season. The Vikings did agree to eat half of his salary for this year, which is not my favorite, but so be it. I don't exactly think Kwesi, cooked in this trade, if we're being clear. I think just getting a 6th round pick for next year back isn't great. The 2027 draft pick they got back was basically a pick swap because they gave away their 7th round pick in exchange for a 6th round pick. So it's not an incredible trade, but I think what it's doing is it's freeing up some money to go get somebody for this year. And I think, my scheming mind and my fan mind and my Madden fantasy, mind goes to, let's go get Terry McLaurin. Now, the Vikings would have the cap space to do it this season. They have just about $30 million in cap space for this year. What you'd have to do, and you mentioned this before the show, Jordan, you'd probably have to trade Jordan Addison to get Terry McLaurin. You would be giving away a good receiver to get a good receiver. Something like that. Would they do that? Probably not. I think you look at, you'd be bringing in a player like Terry McLaurin, who he's 30 years old. He's still very good, but he's older and he wants to be expensive. He's asking for $30+ million a year. And I'm assuming he doesn't want just a 1-year contract. So can you sign up for 3-4 years of Terry McLaurin at that age, at that price tag? I would be shocked if this team did that. So do you trade for a guy who's going to be disgruntled the moment he walks in the door because he's not getting a long-term deal? Probably not. So, my reasonable hat tells me this probably isn't happening. My fun fan hat wants it to happen just because it'd be awesome to have McLaurin and Jefferson, and if somehow they could pull off the trade and keep Addison, that would even be even better. But I think something is coming, though. I don't think it's going to be McLaurin, but something probably is coming in the way of a wide receiver.
Before
names what names have you thought of? Go ahead.
Before we do this, we all know what we're doing. Okay, every Vikings podcast is doing this right now. We've been doing this for a year now. This is, credit to me. I pitched this idea a year ago, and I'll get there. I want to get your opinion on something. And this is like a hot take. I don't think I've heard this anywhere. Again, we're playing Madden tonight. Okay, we're playing Madden GM. And I don't know what the salary cap ramifications would be. Maybe this is impossible. So let's just pretend it goes away. TJ Hawkinson for Terry McLaurin. We go 3 deep at receiver. Josh Oliver is a capable tight end. We no longer have one of the top tier tight ends, but we have 3 good to elite receivers, right? Easily the best receiver trio in the NFL. And we have a capable tight end who's mainly just an extra offensive lineman with solid-ish hands or okay-ish hands. And we, let J.J. McCarthy cook with that. It kind of excites me. And also it explains how, the money would be freed up for the big superstar fantasy trade of Terry McLaurin. I still don't think it happens. I very briefly want your opinions on, would you do something in that neighborhood if the salary cap, if it worked with, all the math?
I want to say yes, but I don't think I would. Because partially I can't remove the salary cap stuff because TJ Hawkinson is cheaper than Terry McLaurin is asking for. TJ Hawkinson is younger. TJ Hawkinson plays a very important position, especially for young quarterbacks. I just think having the diversity of options is very valuable. And yes, having 3 incredible receivers, ask the Cincinnati Bengals. That works really well, when you have 3 really good receivers, especially when they're cheap. When, Tyler Boyd was still there and T. Higgins and obviously Jamar Chase. Having 3 really good receivers is a very good problem to have. I think having TJ Hawkinson for a young quarterback is too valuable, and he's cheaper. So I probably wouldn't do that. It's very intriguing though.
Okay, so let's talk about the
I thought about
trade.
this now.
Yeah, it's you know, I don't know how the salary cap works, what the money. I know those money, you know, you take penalties for trading guys early and stuff like that. So probably just a far-fetched thing. I just wanted to pitch it because it's kind of a fun conversation, and also for some reason last year I was all about trade Joe Madison for Adam Thielen. This year I guess I'm all about trade T.J. Hawkinson. Or you know, I mean I've said on earlier shows this is a prove-it year for Hawkinson. He's going to be a cut candidate going into next year, or you know he's going to be one of those kind of like could they trade him guys, and I'm 10 toes down on that. I still think T.J. Hawkinson is not this guaranteed, oh, he's going to be a Viking in 2026, even 2020, you know, or 2027, even 2026. So let's talk about it. Look, I pitched last season, call Carolina, say we want a second-round pick, and Adam Thielen will give you Joe Madison. This was right after the falling asleep while, you know, I believe he was high, which... If I said that 20 years ago would be like a terrible thing. Now it's really not that deep that he was high, but falls asleep in his car like a homeless person. This is a millionaire that we're talking about here, folks. And I said, just trade him. He's back-to-back seasons with this off-the-field vehicular trouble. Let's move off of him. The Vikings would look. We would have Adam Thielen and Luther Bowden right now if we would have just traded Joe Madison last year. And I'm just going to say it. I was correct. We should have done it. We should have traded Joe Madison last year. Cool. We don't win 14 games with Sam Darnold. We only win 10. We still lose in the first round of the playoffs. History remains the same. So I'm going to officially chalk that up in the where I was correct category. And do a victory lap. But now it's 2025, and we are a year removed from my Google's about to yell at me. From my... You hear that, folks? Partly cloudy with a high of 82.
Good night.
Really glad we heard the weather in Cincinnati.
Yes, that means it is 9 p.m. on a weeknight. Anyway, oh man, what a great show we're off to. The 2025 season trades, talking about all that with the wide receivers, with Addison being out for 3 games, the name being floated around is Adam Thielen. Bringing him home, Kay Adams is so good. I don't know what it is. She really does get the best interviews out of coaches, and I don't know, and I'm going to be very 1990s guy here. I don't know if it's just because she's a beautiful woman, and so all these coaches are like, goo goo gaga, pretty lady, oh, here's all my secrets, oh, what it is. But for some reason, she does interviews with coaches, and they just start spilling their guts to her. So maybe she's just really good at journalism. I don't know. I didn't go to journalism school. But I have not heard anyone say it's because, no, she knows how to angle her questions correctly. She's just naturally good at it. So because of that, she says, you should bring home Adam Thielen to Kevin O'Connell in an interview. And Kevin O'Connell, I mean, you would have thought you just told him he won the lottery. Because, I mean, he was just grinning ear to ear. Oh, I love Adam Thielen. That's the first time I'm hearing about this. Like, it was so cheeky. It would not shock me if the league is like, that's tampering. That counts as tampering. We're taking a draft pick. Get out of here with that. It feels like it's going to happen. Legitimate people are saying it. Don't be shocked when this happens. And the Vikings are filling up cap space and acquiring extra draft picks that could possibly be seen as ammunition to make it happen. Adam Thielen, the retirement tour's back on, baby. I'm all about it. I'm personally all about it. I'll give my takes after you give yours. Adam Thielen coming home for one last ride. What do you think?
Minnesotans, and clearly just Minnesota sports fans, because you're not even a Minnesotan, are so into this. We're so into this idea of reunions. It's like, oh, Eric Wilson's back? Have you heard? Guys, Eric Wilson was a backup linebacker when he was here 5 years ago, and now he's in his 30s. You think he's going to be awesome now? No. Like, he'll make the team, he'll play special teams, and he'll give Ivan Pace a breather once in a while. Anthony Barr came back a couple years ago. We all lost our marbles. It's this thing we do. We think reunions are the best thing ever. And they're just not. There's a reason that Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and this, at the time, new regime said, "We love you, Adam. You were awesome for us, but you are old and you are slowing down, and it is time to go get fresh legs," a la Jordan Addison. That was 3 years ago. And yes, he's been wide receiver 1 for the pathetic Panthers for 2 seasons. Congrats. Y'all won 5 games in 2 years or whatever it is. Not a good team. Bryce Young has no receiving options, so of course he's going to throw it to the guy who actually knows how to run the right route. And yeah, sure, Adam Thielen's been working out with J.J. McCarthy in the summertime. That's cool. Probably just because Adam Thielen lives here. He's from Minnesota. He likes Minnesota. Sure, the Vikings said goodbye to him, but he lived his entire life here. Of course he's going to be in Minnesota from time to time, even if he doesn't have a home in the Twin Cities anymore, which he probably does. You can probably tell by now, Jordan, I'm not into this.
Wow, that's shocking.
Yes, he put up good numbers and all that for Carolina, but I don't know, man. I watched Adam Thielen in 2022, and even then, it was clear he was slowing down. And unless your name is LeBron James, you don't get better with age. You typically get worse and less athletic with age. Adam Thielen could come in and be a 4th receiver or something. Fine. But you're not bringing in Adam Thielen at $10 million roughly to be a 4th receiver. You know, unless the Panthers were willing to eat that salary, which I don't know why they would, I don't want him. It'd be fine to have him, but I'm just going to tell everybody right now, don't expect Adam Thielen to be prime Adam Thielen when he was mossing guys in 2017 and making Case Keenum look like he was a serviceable quarterback. Like, let's remember that this is old Adam Thielen. This is not the Adam Thielen that we think he is. That's where I'm at. Obviously, you are more into it, so tell me why.
Okay, so here's my case. I mean, it's the pro Adam Thielen case, and for the sake of this, it will no longer be Adam Thielen, because I agree with you. He's not Adam Thielen anymore. He is now Mr. Thielen, and he's an old man. So we have to accept that. But going back to KOC's season 1, Adam Thielen's slow, not getting the separation he used to, just not as dependable, on that third down. Seems like he's just a little bit more blanketed. Now it has to be a perfect pass. Cousins doesn't make it. Oh man, that sucks. Time to move on. At that point, they were still asking him to be a high-end 2, I believe. I think the Vikings were on an offense, and they really have since the days of Diggs and Thielen. They have a wide receiver 1 and a high-end wide receiver 2. And not just in talent, in what they ask them to do. They do like to use 2 receivers a lot. And Thielen's not going to be asked to do that. So let me he's coming in as wide receiver 3A. And then anytime the play calls for wide receiver 3 to run straight fast, that's when you put in Speedy. And then Speedy runs the go route, or the post, or whatever it is. But on 3rd and 6, when you need someone to zigzag a defensive back out of their shoes, you put Thielen's fresh 35-year-old legs in, and he zigzags them up, and he gets open. Cooper DeJean did an interview about how excited he was to play the Carolina Panthers because he was going to be matched up with Adam Thielen. And he said he looked at it as, I get to play against a 35, however old he was, wide receiver who's on the downswing of his career. And he was like, I'm going to have a great week. It's going to be easy money. And Cooper DeJean's quote was, he immediately started routing me up and just carving me, like eating me alive. And granted, Cooper DeJean is a he's in his first season, and it's late in his first season, but it still is, he's a rookie. Do we really want to pay attention to that? Adam Thielen's been fine in Carolina. He is, again, not Adam Thielen, who looked like, a shorter, slower, wider version of Randy Moss out there, but he has been a fine receiver, and so the idea of bringing him in to be a wide receiver 2 for a few weeks, and then immediately take him down to, hey man, you're going to be like a slot guy in third and manageable and goal line situations, I'm perfectly okay with that. And the one person that I think might march into Kwesi's office and say, trade me now, is Speedy Naylor. But he doesn't really have any leverage to do that. But if I'm Speedy Naylor and Adam Thielen gets brought in, I'm still going to get snaps, right? I mean, it's a 35-year-old man, and I'm in the prime of my life, and I look like a superhero. But Speedy Naylor's going to be pissed. He's in a contract deal. He has 3 games to really show up, show out, and get paid next season. And the Vikings are thinking, they're basically... if it's not Thielen, they're going to do something. I don't know if it's Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I don't know if it's, Dontavian Wicks. I don't know who it's going to be. Maybe it's Tim Patrick from Detroit. I've heard that name thrown around. There's a ton of wide receivers that are kind of like, yeah, we might want them to be our wide receiver, 2 or 3 for a couple of weeks. Like, it can't be Lucky Jackson, okay? It seems like every year we do this dance with Lucky Jackson now, where it's like he's having a great camp, and then he plays a couple games, and we're like, I don't know if we can trust this guy. But I think because of the reduced role that you would ask Mr. Thielen to play, yeah, 1,000% I'm on board. And we have the cap space to do it, and sure, it reduces the rollover that we'll get, and, the benefit to the cap next season. But, come on, man, it's a good story. It's a reduced role. You keep his legs fresh, so he will be viable throughout the entirety of the season, and that age won't show itself as much. And you just don't expect him to do things that he's not going to be able to physically do. You don't expect him to, you got a one-on-one, you got to win, on a 9 route here. You just don't ask him to go win go routes. Ask him to win in the red zone, where I think he would be a huge addition. And if they do make this trade, I'm going to go on I think he might lead the team in first downs. Come second to Justin Jefferson in first down receptions. It just feels like that's a perfect slot to put him in, of he's going to eat guys alive in the red zone and on third and show. I don't know. To me, that sounds great. He's also never going to see double coverage a single time this season, because he'll exclusively be a slot guy. I personally love the idea, and I'm going to be really disappointed if it doesn't happen, I'll be honest.
And here's the thing. If it does happen, and he's awesome, I will gladly eat my words. In this case, I'm trying to be an analyst, not a fan. So now I'll turn my my anti Adam Thielen hat off, or switch off. But I mean, part of this whole discussion is also predicated on, as you're mentioning, guys like Speedy Naylor. Everybody's getting hurt, Jordan.
Yeah. Big time.
Justin Jefferson just came back to practice in a limited capacity this week from the hamstring. Jordan Addison, according to Alec Lewis, and I quote, jammed something on Wednesday, didn't finish practice. Ty Felton, and I quote again, dinged his arm on Wednesday and didn't finish practice. Obviously, Rondale Moore out for the season. Jordan Addison suspended for the first 3 games of the season. I'm not sure who's playing receiver week 1. Justin Jefferson will. He'll be fine. He's going to play. But outside of him, we don't know yet if Naylor's going to play. Felton will probably play, but who knows? Who knows how bad whatever happened to him was. After that, I mean, we're talking Thayer Thomas. We're talking Lucky Jackson, Miles Price. I mean, this could get ugly real fast. And so even if it's not Adam Thielen, I think we're probably in agreement somebody's got to come in. What were some of the names you were thinking of? You already mentioned, guys like Dontavian Wicks or whatever. What are some other names that you thought of?
Marquez Valdez-Scantling's a name that's been thrown around. Alan Lazard has been thrown around. Shocked that he's not signed in Pittsburgh yet. who was the other? Tim Patrick has been thrown off. I'm going to be honest, and it's not out of Kwesi's. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not like out of his resume, or it's not. It wouldn't be unfamiliar territory for him to trade in the division. I believe Dontavian Wicks and Tim Patrick are both still in our division. If I'm wrong about that, and they're not on the Lions and Packers, then apologies. But I don't love giving up draft capital to make a desperation move, like with a division rival, especially the two good ones. It'd be one thing if we were calling up, Chicago about, I don't know who I feel like they have a receiver that everybody always is like super high on, and then he doesn't end up doing anything. But maybe I'm thinking of Darnell Mooney, who I believe went to the Falcons. So I don't love those two. I love those two players as options. I don't love the cost and who the payment would be made to of those two players. And I don't know, man. Like Gabe Davis, I don't know if he's signed anywhere yet, but he's been a name thrown around. But he feels like somebody you're going to pay, and he's not really been in this kind of a system. He's kind of been in that Josh Allen, I'm going to run deep routes, and Josh Allen's going to find me because he has a cannon, and he's going to run around for 15 seconds every play. And I don't know. I think there's a real discussion to be had. Maybe tonight's not the night to have it, but it's one guy going down, right? And obviously that affects the whole depth because there are other guys going down. But let's say Speedy Naylor's good for Chicago and the 3 weeks that Addison's suspended. Is it too much to ask that J.J. McCarthy just kind of, for lack of better term, thugs it out and puts up with one guy being... You know what I mean? I feel like Vikings fans, rightfully so, because JJ's so unproven, I feel like they're kind of, panicked about this one guy being down. Now, all of the other wide receivers being injured obviously plays into this, but they're not these career-ending, season-jeopardizing injuries. It's like, okay, Speedy Naylor might miss one game, but JJ McCarthy, and I'm going to be critical for a second, and I own a jersey, okay? I like JJ McCarthy. I hope he's good. I want him to be good. It's all great. But JJ McCarthy still has Justin Jefferson. I'm going to be pessimistic. I'm going to do this from the pessimistic point of view. He has a top 3 wide receiver in Justin Jefferson. He has
3.
Again,
who's better?
I'm being pessimistic. The most pessimistic Vikings fan will put him no lower than 3. I don't know. Maybe like Amon-Ra and Jamar Chase. Those are the 2 names that come to mind that people are always like, oh, they're disrespected, blah, blah, blah. I think he's number 1. But he has one of the best wide receivers on the planet, in the known universe. He has 2 above average to average running backs, a very improved offensive line, and a top 5 tight end. Not to mention he's going to get, again, being pessimistic, slightly above average at best or at worst defensive play. Now, if you ask me, he has the best wide receiver in the world. He has 2 good running backs. He has the second or third best tight end on the planet, and an offensive line that I expect to be a bunch of ass kickers. The offense should be fine as long as, I don't know, Justin Jefferson doesn't get turf toe. Like, I'm failing to see. Again, I want him to bring Thielen, and I think it would be a cool story, but I don't think they need to go panic trade a second-round pick to get Allen Lazard or something because, oh my gosh, JJ's development is down the drain if Jordan Addison misses a few games. I think if that's the case, then we do not have the guy. I don't care how many games he hasn't started. You have to overcome that. So, am I being too harsh on JJ McCarthy, or do you disagree with that?
Not at all. Not at all. And I think maybe from just a clarity point of view, and I know you're not like arguing with me, but I think the idea that maybe I haven't made clear here is the worry for me is not getting like, oh, we need to get another top tier talent like Addison. Like Addison out 3 weeks does not worry me. Like, it's not great. Like, yeah, you'd obviously rather have him in there. He's proved to be fantastic, but the Vikings survived for 3 weeks without him last year, and that was more of a surprise thing. He got injured in the middle of a game. This they've been planning for. They knew this was coming. And so they'll survive. They'll be fine. To me, the worry is more than anything depth. I just, even if even if it's just Addison that they're missing for 3 games and no one else is actually hurt. Naylor's fine, Felton's fine, Addison just, twisted his ankle, he'll be fine. If it's just Addison, I still look at that room and I'm still not sold. It's still just, to me, basically 4 guys. And because I don't know, I don't trust Lucky Jackson, I don't trust Miles Price as a receiver. Part of this equation to me too, and I don't know if you're thinking about it in this way as well, but part of this is you need somebody else who can return a punt.
That's very true.
And can return a kick. Losing Rondale Moore, to me, actually hurts more than I think I thought it would hurt. Because not only was he an experienced receiver and a good one at that when he played, obviously the injuries, but he was a dynamic return man and someone you could trust with the ball. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm watching these preseason games and we got Ty Felton fumbling kickoffs, Ty Felton running into the other back returner. Miles Price looked pretty good in his return capacity against New England, but then I'm hearing from Alec Lewis of The Athletic that he's dropping punts in practice, and no, man. I don't know if they have a returner on the roster. Are we gonna put Jalen Naylor back there again? Are we gonna call KJ Osborne up? Hey KJ, can you catch punts?
Do you know what's really damning? Ty Chandler's name has came up 0 times for these return positions, and that's something he should do. He's done it. I'm pretty sure. He's been a kickoff guy. And so the fact that they haven't tested him as a punt guy a single time that I've heard is pretty, there's no shot, and I'm not trying to pivot to this, but there's no shot he makes this team, right? He's just gone. I feel like. I mean, when they'll, like you said, they're throwing out guys that I don't even remember the names that you said because there's probably no chance they make the team. I don't know, man. Are they going to put Terry and Ingram Dawkins back there to return punts? Because he's doing everything on the defense, so maybe he can be a punt return. Should they do a mulligan, take Rondale Moore off of injured reserve, and just put him out there on one leg and tell him to hobble to the ball, fair catch it, bring it in, and just call it? It's legit. I don't know what the answer is, but I agree with you. And this is something I want your opinion on. If they do trade for Thielen, does he go back for punt? He's done punt returns before. He's been a break lap. He's 35 years old, man. Are we going to put him back there for punts and pay him $10 million?
Not great. I mean, this is where all joking aside about putting our defensive tackles back there and all that. This is actually where I think about bringing Brandon Powell back.
Yeah.
He's still unsigned. He's going to be really cheap. He knows the system. You could literally trade for him on September 7th and play him on September 8th. You don't even have to trade for him. You just sign him off the street. I think he's a guy that, no, he's not a world beater. He's not on a team right now. Of course, he's not, a coveted player, but did he ever turn over the ball? I mean, he never fumbled punts. He wasn't great as a receiver, but he had some moments. He had some clutch moments. And he's reliable. I think, that's the kind of player that I'm looking for right now, of being can we go get a wide receiver 5, a wide receiver 4 type, and as a plus, can they return a kick? It's August 21st, and I don't think the returners are on the roster right now, and that freaks me out.
What's Patrick Peterson doing? Did he hang him up? Can we call him and see if he'll come kick some dust?
He was so
whatever.
A decade ago.
Again, at this point, I'm not looking for home runs. I'm looking catch the ball and go down, because I'm legitimately afraid. Story time, way off topic, but kind of on topic. They're the Vikings of the AFC. The 2011 Los Angeles Chargers, there's a whole YouTube documentary about them. They had a top 5 offense, a top 5 defense. They had the absolute worst special teams. They gave up the most touchdowns. They kept fumbling on special teams. They missed the playoffs because of it. And I could see that being this year's Vikings. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but like, just look, Will Weichert seems to be all the way back. We've got this new Aussie punter. Congratulations, Will. You nailed that one. I think he's making the team. Like, the kickers, the guys, the legs are fine. It's the catching on special teams that I don't trust as far as I can throw these guys. So I agree with you. Brandon Powell is probably the best option right now. But I wonder, the Vikings are kind of between a rock and a hard place here, because not a rock and a hard place, but every decision they make, the other side of that decision has all of the leverage. You know, Brandon Powell's sitting there and he's like, I don't know, maybe I don't want to play football anymore, you know? I love my life doing whatever I'm doing now, being 5'8" or whatever he is. Like, I'm just a small happy man, and I don't know that I want to come get hit for a living. And the Vikings are like, come on, man, like, we'll give you $2 million. Like, it's I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I think Brandon Powell's the best.
Is it Chad Beebe? I mean, Chad Beebe's got to be available.
Is Chad Beebe the hero? Does this whole season pivot around the Carolina Panthers? Chad Beebe, the hero of the Carolina Panthers game, like 5 years ago, and Adam Thielen, Carolina Panther legend of the last 2 years, come to Minnesota to save the season? Maybe that is the answer. I say it every year. Marcus Sherrills could still do it. Like, we could easily bring him back and let him catch punts for us, but I don't know. This is probably too long of a conversation to have about just punts.
He's 37, man. I mean, he's still younger than others. Should we talk quarterbacks? Quarterbacks are fun.
Yeah, I want to, before we get into the ones that are on the team, Anthony Richardson and his dumb nose ring. Do we want that in Minnesota? Is that what we want our team be representing?
We don't want that guy.
39% completion percentage. I'll kick this one off. I don't know that I do want. If you get Richardson, Howell has to go, which means we really have to love Max Hosmer, which I do, but I don't know if I really do. You know, like, he's a great QB3. I'm excited to see what he turns into. The second it's like, hey, if JJ goes down, it's Max Bosma. I'm like, oh crap! I don't know that I want this. You know what I mean? It's like when you spend all your budget on, you know, the first of the month, and now the rent's due, and it's like, uh-oh. You know, I don't know what to do. So I don't know if I trust Max Hosmer that much. But man, Anthony Richardson, if it's true that the Vikings loved him as much as they did, I don't want to say it could be fun, because ideally he'd never see the field. It would be intriguing. How about that? I think it would make Red Zone, if the Vikings were fun and they had Red Zone Anthony Richardson packages, it would be pretty cool. If he could just come in and be Tim Tebow for, you know, 3-4 games this season. So I don't know. I'm curious what you think of it. I don't hate it, but I think you'd have to give up too much, and it's risky.
Yeah, I'm not super into it. I mean, now Anthony Richardson has played about 6 career games, so it's not like he's, you know, built up some sort of cachet in the NFL. But it kind of feels to me like, I don't know, having like early stages career Jameis Winston as a backup or Cam Newton as a backup. Or it's like, isn't this guy a little too have a little too much notoriety to be a backup, where they're the ones getting interviewed, and it's like, why do we have podium time for 2 different quarterbacks? This is kind of weird.
Yeah,
that might only happen for a few weeks if he ever came here. He doesn't seem to me like the quintessential KOC guy. I know Kevin said he liked him, but what does Kevin care about? Rhythm, timing, accuracy, quick decision-making? Do any of those things sound like Anthony Richardson? No. So I think having him as a fun, backup, red zone, sprint option play with Jordan Mason trailing behind him, that could be electric. But I don't know, man. He might get too tired running out to the flat. To flip the ball.
Oh, no.
Like that. So I'm just not into it. I'm not super into it.
Well, he'd have to redshirt a year. That's the thing. Like, he doesn't have to, obviously. That's not a rule in NFL. But like, because he's so bad at like all of the things that are important to be Kevin O'Connell's QB, I think he has to take a season to learn rhythm and timing and accuracy and all these things, and new mechanics probably. Like, this is a complete overhaul of a QB. And I don't know that the Vikings are in a position to do that. You know what I mean? They're just not. They have J.J. McCarthy. I don't want Kevin O'Connell spending any time. I love Max Hosmer. Kevin O'Connell should not be spending time making Max Bosma, whatever. I call him Hosmo if you're not familiar with the show, because he has a hose like a cannon. It's a little joke. I don't want him spending time with Max Bosma. I want him spending every waking minute of every day with J.J. McCarthy, making him the best QB he can be. And so, yeah, I'm not keen on, let's take resources away from the young franchise guy and put them into a guy that's basically a comp pick. Like, you're fishing for comp picks at that point. You know what I mean? So I don't love it.
What? Yeah, I mean, here's how I think about Max Brosmer. He is too good to expose to the practice squad. I want him on the roster as the third quarterback. And just so we're clear, we got this wrong on the last show when we were talking about third quarterbacks and that rule. The rule is the third quarterback has to be on the active roster, but they don't count for a game day active spot. So the active roster is 53, but I think the game day actives are like 46 or 47 or something like that. That third quarterback doesn't count toward that final number. And so that's the benefit of having the third quarterback emergency thing. Anyways, I don't want to expose Max Brosmer to waivers to put him on the practice squad because somebody's going to get him. And then he's gone. So I know we've kind of floated around the idea of QB2. If I'm going to cut somebody, it's not going to be Brosmer. But I think, and I'm curious what you think about this for the second quarterback. Yeah, Sam Howell in his 5 attempts against New England looked horrible. I don't know what he was doing. That interception was something I would do in the backyard. Like, seriously, I think I had an interception like that when I was playing quarterback in 7th grade. Like, I think that's something that I did when I was 13. Like, we don't need that in the NFL. Trying to roll out and just chuck it up in the air, like, so bad. I don't think that should disqualify him from being the QB2. I just think everything up until that moment was like, yeah, Sam Howell's the second quarterback. He looked really good for an extended amount of time in the first preseason game. I think, to me at least, he's still QB2. Brosmer's 3. You cut Brett Rippon. No, he is not going to command as much attention as, oh, the Vikings cut Max Brosmer? Oh, we're going to go get him. You know, some other team's going to scoop him up. That many teams are going to be clamoring for Brett Rippon. So he's a guy that you could more than likely stash on the practice squad if you wanted to keep him around. That's my thought on the quarterback room. What about you?
I don't know why guys like Brett Rippon, who, the thing with Brett Rippon for like 2 years now has been, oh, he's going to be a coach someday. Just get it out of the way. Like, you're not good at football. And I'm not trying to be hateful, but, like, you're not good enough to be in the NFL. Neither am I. That's why I do a podcast. I almost said a stupid podcast, but I love this stupid thing. So, like, but that's why I'm here talking into a microphone unofficially on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, if you suck at your job, you'll find what you're good at. And if the belief is you're going to be a good coach someday, or you have the potential to be a good coach someday, rip the Band-Aid off, pal. Like, it's not like he's making game-changing money. We're not talking about, like, wow, Tom Brady would be a hell of a coach someday. Why didn't he retire? Like, he was still doing it. Like, I think the Vikings, if every QB went down and Brett Rippon was the last QB, they would trade for 2 QBs. And they would say, back down the depth chart, you tumble, pal. Like, just get it out of the way. If any one of the Brett Rippon's gone. If he makes this team, I'm going to be infuriated because that's just a dumb decision. If any one of the QBs not named Brett Rippon has to go, it's Sam Howell. He's Sam Howell. You know what I mean? You traded nothing to get him. You got a good look at him throughout camp and minicamp and all this crap. It's, you know, look, maybe he could have like a Case Keenum-esque year. God forbid something happens to our beloved JJ. But honestly, I mean this. If JJ goes down second play of the game, Aaron Rodgers style, like week 1, Monday Night Football, he goes down, I would rather they put Max Brosmer in because it's like, let's just see. Let's just see if we have something to love and to cling on to. But it ain't going to be Sam Howell, folks. It's just not. And I don't even know that he gives you a better chance to win than Max Bosma does. And what I love about it, Bosma's playing pretty solid. He got his clock cleaned a few times against New England, but he's playing pretty solid in the role that he's in preseason games. He is also playing really well when the lights aren't on and it's just training camp drills. He's like Jake Browning, but like he's good in practice. So I don't think we have to worry about this being a "you never should have cut me" situation, because I think Max Bosma has a chance to be here for a while. And I think he's going to add to the legend of Kwesi and UDFAs. Like, I think he's going to be a very solid backup. And after, we go 17-0 and lose the Super Bowl, a la Tom Brady and the Patriots, and then JJ blows his knee out the next year, I think Max Bosma is our Matt Castle. And it's like, wow, that guy's actually a pretty solid QB. You know what I mean? So that's my 2 cents. I love Max Bosma. I think he should be QB2.
I like it. I think and to your thought about, like, if somebody had to actually play for the whole season, I'd rather have Brosmer, because Howell's not taking you anywhere. And even if you make the playoffs with him, you're not going to go anywhere. I'd rather see what this other guy could do. And, if JJ actually gets hurt and it's season ending again, like, obviously that would be horrible for many reasons and people. You then you have to start thinking about what the next plan is, because is JJ just injury prone at that point? So I like that take.
Can I ask,
for me, when I'm thinking, yeah, go ahead.
I want to ask you a question, and then I want you to finish, continue with your take. Based on what you've heard and seen of Max Bosma, do you think him and Sam Howell would take this team to the same place? Like, I think if they both started a full season in a vacuum, they both take us to like a 8 or 9 win season with a great defense and a solid run game. I think they both get us to like about 500, around 500.
I'm not quite there yet with Brosmer in terms of what he can do right now. I watched him considerably last year at the U of M, and he was a good player. Above average for what the Gophers have had, for sure. The Gophers have never been a QB factory. But I was never, like, blown away. I think what I'm beginning to see and what I'm beginning to hear from people who know what they're talking about is that this guy has an incredible head on his shoulders, and his ability to read defenses and dissect stuff is much better than you ever should have as a rookie. And granted, he's 24, but he's still young. He's a rookie. He played at FCS school, before he went to, I think it was New Hampshire, before he went to the U of M for a season. So, I think in terms of this season, I would probably trust Sam Howell to win more games for this upcoming season, just because he's done an entire season. And now he's Sam Howell, and we've seen what he does as a starting quarterback for an entire season. But I think I see him maybe as more of like a, mediocre floor, low ceiling guy. Like, he's going to be fine. He's going to be Nick Mullins, basically, is kind of how I think about it. And what I like, this is what I was going to say about Howell in terms of like how I would think about him being QB2 is I think of him similarly to how the role that Nick Mullins had last year, where Darnold played 99% of the snaps, but he missed like 2 snaps. And the 2 snaps that he missed, Mullins comes running in. They're both like third and mediums, and he has to convert a first down, and he converted both of them. Do I want Nick Mullins playing that entire game in London? I think was the first completion he had. Absolutely not. I do not want Nick Mullins running around in the rain, throwing YOLO balls. No, not at all. But for a guy who's been in the NFL, has knowledge of what he's supposed to do offensively, knows where to find his guys, I trust him for a play or two. I think we're probably, I'm probably assuming more than we've maybe seen with Sam Howell here, because he's only, been here. We've seen him in 2 preseason games, but I think I would trust him as a veteran to make a couple plays and not get flustered. Obviously, Brosmer's looked good, and I would love to be continually, pleasantly surprised by him. But for this season, I would probably say, if I'm going to have a quarterback who needs to kind of take that couple plays here and there approach, I'd probably go with the guy who's a quote unquote veteran, even though he's still young in the league himself.
While we're on QBs, I do want to talk about QB1, and we didn't really get a chance to cover the joint practices. You know what I mean? Like we didn't, just the way that it shook out. We kind of did a show before them, and then a lot of time has passed since that show. So let's talk about that. Day one of those joint practices, JJ McCarthy not electric, but solid, okay, I guess you would say. Day two, holy, you know what? I mean, he's the second coming. Just lights up New England. I don't know the exact stats, so I'm going to make them up. It was like 16 of 20 for like 5 touchdowns or something. He just started going bananas. Yeah, just went bananas on that New England defense. That was the first time since JJ McCarthy, since the Las Vegas preseason game, that I truly thought to myself, oh, he's a dude. We have a dude. And, I've always kind of thought the worst case scenario is he's going to be mid, kind of bad. We'll maybe make the playoffs with him a couple times, but I don't think he's going to get a second contract. That kind of gave me the hope that maybe this is like a $60-70 million guy, like eventually. It's going to take some time, but maybe he is. And so what do you take away from that? Obviously, I'm being a little bit, I'm going to drink the Kool-Aid. It's August 21st. So I got to get excited about something. I'm so ready for football to start, and it feels like it's an eternity away, and it's really not. It's like 3 weeks, but how much did you take away from that? Obviously, no preseason game for him. We have seen the last of him in a game atmosphere until Monday night against the Chicago Bears. What did you take away from the joint practice? Did it get you excited? Did you get fired up? Or is it just, it's a joint practice, man, calm down?
Well, first of all, I was just doing the math here. Opening night's in 2 weeks.
That's insane.
We're getting close. It gets me fired up. I'm not gonna lie.
It's college football this weekend.
It's week 0. Don't get too excited, people. It's week 0. I don't know how that works, but it works. Yes, it's a joint practice. Yes, it's curated drills and stuff. But like, everyone and their mother was saying, "Holy crap, JJ McCarthy." He played so well that you're getting guys like Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw just grinning when people were asking him about him. Like, Darrisaw gets asked after practice on Thursday, so tell me what you thought about JJ, and he just starts smiling. Brian O'Neill on the broadcast Saturday morning before the game. So, Brian, what did you think about JJ's performance in the joint practices? Just starts smiling. I think his teammates, this is something that we make fun of Colin Cowherd on this show. Something that Colin Cowherd has said is that, like, actual NFL people will tell you that you don't have to convince the players who the starting quarterback is. They know who the starting quarterback is. And if you start the guy that they don't want, it'll be pretty clear that none of them approve of your decision, because guys figure out pretty quick who the guy is. And I think these guys know that JJ's the guy. And, I mean, dude, yes, it's a practice, stat line, whatever. But, I mean, you're even seeing Patriots reporters kind of mumbling under their breath at how much he lit up their defense. I mean, for goodness sakes, Mike Vrabel started his first unit, both offense and defense, but we're talking about their defense here. He started them on Saturday in the preseason game because he was so fed up with how much they got shredded and not satisfied. And so he said, you guys got to go out there and play 2 series because that was not good enough. So yes, Jordan, I'm excited. I'm trying to temper it because yes, it's a practice, but I mean, heck, Evan O'Connell has always said that joint practices mean more to him than any other preseason game. I think Alec Lewis put it that this is a data point that he takes more seriously than any other training camp data point. So I don't know. This is not nothing, and it's definitely not nothing to the head coach. And so, yeah, I'm excited.
I want to
drink the Kool-Aid, man.
I love drinking the Kool-Aid, and it's so easy to drink the Kool-Aid when he goes out, though. Even and if you're one of those people that, it's stats in practice, we don't like that. Well, okay, then just say J.J. McCarthy had easily, I don't know, he looked like a top 7 QB in practice against a live NFL defense. And granted, he can't be hit, so maybe that changes things a little bit, but they're in full pads, they're 11 on 11, and he's lighting them up and throwing a lot of touchdowns. And yes, it's New England, but look, if he goes out there and he goes 16 for 20 with 5 touchdowns against any team in the NFL, it's going to open some eyes, okay? Yeah, it's going to open some eyes. So I'm excited. I think that it's easy to get excited about anything that he does. It's also really easy to get really nervous about anything that he does, which I find myself doing just as much. Because there is this, I joke all the time, my happiness for the next several years all depends on if a 22-year-old is good at football. And I never thought I'd get to this point in my life, but frankly, that's where we're at, guys. If this 22-year-old is good, I'm going to have a good, cruising into my 30s. If he's bad, I will probably take up smoking cigarettes. It's just, it's in the styles. And I've just, I won't get into my jerseys and all that, but I've got his jersey. All my hopes are in J.J. McCarthy, and hopefully I'm not looking forward to, going on hikes and golfing come November, and I'm actually still invested in football because we have a guy. I'm going to do my final thoughts briefly, and then I'll let you take us home. This has been a long one, but it's been a good one. My final thoughts are actually, I'm just going to dedicate them to kind of what the show looks like as we lead into week 1, which is just about 2 weeks away, which is insane. So we have, we have next week, we're going to be same time, it'll be posted, on a Friday morning. We're going to talk about the third preseason game. We're going to do schedule prediction, the official Load the Box schedule prediction. And also we're going to do our NFL season predictions. I thought those were a lot of fun last year, so we're going to do those again, give each other a lot of crap about, I think last year I had the Eagles in the playoffs, but I had the Bucks in the Super Bowl, I think. So we'll see who we have this year, but that's a lot of fun. Gives us some crap to give each other. Will beat me by a lot. And then the week after that it's a preview. It is straight up, no fluff. Just let's talk about the NFL game that's going to be played on Monday night. And then September 8th, we will be doing an immediate reaction to the game. I'm going to try and convince Will to actually do that live on our YouTube channel, but no promises. We actually cuss a ton on this show, and I just have to go through, and I'm so good at video editing, you can't tell at all. Anytime you hear one of us say, it's because we just went on a tirade. And that's how I cue it in. So, but no, we'll be doing that right after the game, and live reactions, and that will be J.J. McCarthy. What did he look like? How did he play? I'm sure we're not going to overreact at all to it and say he's either the best QB since Brian Tarkington or he's Christian Ponder 2.0. So super excited. We have great stuff. Weekly content after the games. Not always going to be a live show, but after the games, talking to you guys about what we saw, doing pregame stuff. It's going to be a great season here at Load the Box, and we hope that you be a friend, tell a friend. I think that's a Pat McAfeeism. Make sure you follow the show at LTV Vikings on social media. Make sure you subscribe to the show's YouTube channel for the weekly content, which we're about to really crank up, and it's going to be, 2 times a week you'll be getting videos. And make sure you follow Will at Will Bad Blues. That's really all I got, guys. I'm telling, it's coming. I'm amped. It's coming. Let's go. Football's back. I'm wearing the Jared Allen jersey. Look at how, this jersey's falling apart. Do you see the numbers are peeling off of it? This is like my dad's jersey that I think he got from China, in 07 or something. So this is a very old jersey. So that's all from me. I'll let Will take us home because he's a lot better at taking us home than I am. Let's go.
Yeah, we're excited for the next few shows. They're all going to be a little different. They're all going to be a little bit sort of like special edition. It's not just going to be ranting and raving about Vikings topics. There's sort of, very curated topics, and I think it's going to be fun. I'm just going to leave us with a very brief final thought, more football related. Something that I noticed, and Ben Lieber on the broadcast also noted it, which just vindicated me. I promise I noticed this before Ben Lieber pointed it out. The screen game has been very good this preseason. It's been very emphasized this preseason. It's something that the Vikings have not done great at since O'Connell came. Screen game and the run game, two things that they need to improve on. It's very clear there's an emphasis on both, but specifically I noticed that the screen game has been huge. Lieber specifically talked about it being a release valve for a young quarterback to alleviate pressure. I just think in general, though, having a screen passing game is just vitally important. It's a different way to beat the defense, something the Vikings have never really used very well. It's always been, deep over routes from Jefferson and choice routes from Addison. And it's just, those are complicated routes, important routes, things that need to happen. But a simple screen pass, I mean, remember Dalvin Cook taking all those screen passes to the house, those sorts of things. And we saw Donovan Jackson running people over in joint practices on a screen pass, and that was beautiful to watch. So just a tidbit, put a fork in it. We'll see, or put a pin in it, I should say. We'll see how much that really, reveals itself to be important or actually getting better come the season. But thing that I want to keep an eye on, and there's a positive sign that it looks better. Like Jordan said, we'll be back next week, probably next Thursday. Recording Thursday, posting Friday, and then we're off and running. Football's back. If you're on your college teams, yes, most people have given up on baseball, and let's get back to it. The NFL's right around the corner, right after Labor Day, so time to be alive. Skol, y'all.